Good evening, everyone. Bearded Welshman here. Thank you for joining me in the Fireside Chat. Called the Fireside Chat because this is my fireside. Got quite a bit of it. I lit my pipe up tonight. The dark fire cigar spills. Well, it is just cedar, really thin, paper-like. Smells good. Just carry away to light the pipe. It's one of the first. I think it's the second time I've ever tried using. You can light a pipe or a cigar. Got the oil lamp going. There's an oil lamp. Not an electric lamp. Smoking my Sven board. Love this pipe. I have my Sven board, my custom built, my Ranger, my new gray bow that Art gave me. My Country Gentleman. Those are the ones I pretty much rotate through. Kind of into them right now. This pipe is probably one of my best smoking pipes right now, and added to the mix now. Here's my LL Bean. That's a billiard. I got it back from Boswell's. They put a new stem on it for me. I reamed it out. They cleaned up the exterior of the bowl, shined it up for me, waxed it up. So, had a business meeting over the phone tonight. Working on some things for the Bearded Welshman. Hope to have the website up soon. Just set some things in motion tonight in their phone meeting. So I don't really want to announce too much until it's official and we're up and running, like moving, like officially moving towards putting it together. I'm putting together a business. So. Tomorrow night I want to do a review on the H&H Pure Virginia. I couldn't wait. I opened up the can after work tonight and just took a smell, and it's really, it smells so good. I'm hoping it tastes as good as it smells. I'm hoping that I enjoy it. I'm trying to decide which pipe to smoke it with. I don't know if I want to do this one or if I want to do the custom built. Not sure. Sorry about that. Hope that wasn't too loud. Looking forward to this weekend. Going down to my daughter's school. They have homecoming down near Philly. Day 2 without my wife here. She's out in Colorado for work at a conference. So, miss her. Can't wait till she gets home. Talk to her tonight. Weather out there is real nice. She's not as impressed with Denver as she thought she would be. Nothing against Denver. She just expected more mountains and closer, and so that you could see the enormity of the mountains, but they're so far away from them. So hopefully they get to go sightseeing a little bit. Not a whole lot to talk about tonight. Just kind of, I'm tuckered out, as they say. Thank you for the comments. Those of you who have been commenting, thank you very much. I appreciate it. A lot to help and stuff. I enjoy the comments. Those of you that commented from last night's chat about where would you like to go, what would you like to see. Some pretty interesting ones. I like that. It was good. They were good stuff. It's good stuff. And thank you very much for participating. Thinking about doing another live chat on Friday. I'm not sure. Those live chats are really fun. I don't know if you can hear the crickets or not. Over the cars and the rumbling of the jet. The airport, I told you, that's right down here. Harrisburg International Airport runs along the river. It's one of the longest airports on the East Coast. And the president's planes come up. Often they do touch and goes and they practice because it's so long. And it's not a busy airport, and they can practice because it's not a very busy airport during the day. We have the famous 193rd Air Guard Unit. They are they're a propaganda unit. They fly C-130s. They go in and jam radio frequencies in hostile territories. They broadcast propaganda in hostile territories. They're deployed a lot. When in the early 90s, when we were in Bosnia, they were going a lot. I think they're the only unit, military period, that does what they do. So they get deployed quite often. And they're stationed right out of here at Harrisburg. This used to be an Air Force base. It was called Olmsted Air Force Base. That's what it was built for back in the early 40s when the United States got into World War II. So there's Olmsted Air Force Base. And there's a housing complex, which is now a housing development in the late 40s after World War II and somewhat during World War II. They built a place. It's a housing development. It's called Oak Hills. It sits on the old Fry farm, George Fry, in Middletown. And they're all Cape Cods. They built them for the military personnel, people who worked at Olmsted Air Base. Olmsted, OLMSTEAD, Olmsted. So for the longest time, up until probably until I was a teenager, we had the Olmsted Soccer Association, the Olmsted Baseball Association, because the whole area was known based on that air base. Now it's called Harrisburg International Airport, and they go to flights all over the United States, some international. When I was in high school, I want to say 1985, the Concorde flew over, and it needed a long runway to land. So when they needed to fuel, and they needed a long runway in the air on the East Coast to land when they came over. So our airport was picked. So I remember being in high school, and we were sitting, and we didn't have air conditioning in my high school. Then we could hear it come in. It was loud. It was loud like a fighter jet. And when it took off, it was really loud. Now, mind you, the high school, maybe 5 miles from the airport. So, it was loud. And we watched it take off. You could see it from the second floor as it rose up off the airport. And the airport runs along the river. It's a really long runway. But this was a strategic area. And we have the Mechanicsburg, excuse me, we have the Mechanicsburg Navy Depot and the New Cumberland Army Depot that are real close to one another and close to here. They're just right across the river, pretty close to the river. And they served during World War II as logistical. And then we have Letterkenny Army Depot down towards Chambersburg. And then we have Fort Indiantown Gap. Now, if you remember television miniseries, there was a miniseries out in the early 80s, maybe the late 70s, early 80s. It was called Holocaust. It was based on the book. And it was about the Jewish Holocaust. It was a miniseries. The barracks that we have at Fort Indiantown Gap, they picked to film this miniseries as one of the concentration camps. So it was really neat. It was a lot of hustle and bustle. Then, I think it was before that or after that, there was an issue with Indian reservations out west and down south and stuff. So they brought the Indians up and they housed them at Fort Indiantown Gap in a barracks. And then again, when Carter was in office, President Carter, we had the Cuban refugee crisis, right? The majority of those Cubans that came over on the little boats and were rescued, they put them into Fort Indiantown Gap. Problem with the Cuban refugees, people raised a big stink about it. Because what they did was when they housed them there, they built a fence perimeter around it. I could understand the reasoning behind it. A lot of people didn't. So, Fort Indiantown Gap, still used today. The Army and the Marines train up there. some air guard goes up there. Every summer, the Marines come in pretty much all summer long. They have an airport. They fly Chinooks, Black Hawks. They used to fly fighter jets out of there. And they fly other helicopters. When I was an EMT, they were still flying jets. There, they do the A-10 Warthogs, tank killers, they call them. They're A-10 Warthogs. They still do those out of there. But the other fighter jets, one was coming down. He was doing maneuver and come down on the landing onto the deck, the runway, and he belly flopped onto the runway. Guy was injured. Pretty good. Probably, I think it was career ending for him. Didn't kill him, but he was hurt pretty bad. Now your A-10 Warthogs, they do a lot of live fire up there. And up on top of the mountain, there's what's called the Hawk Watch. We'll have to go up there. We'll go up. I'll take you up to a camera tour. People go up there and they watch the hawks. But you can look out over the valley to the battlefield, and they do mock battles out there with fake rounds, dummy rounds. But they do live round tank and mortar fire and cannon fire. When they do that, no one's allowed on Hawk Mountain. Pretty much access, you can get up to Hawk Mountain. There's a road that goes up. It's pretty steep grade and turns into stone road. Then you get up in there. You drive back the trail and you can sit and relax. My dad and I used to go up there. And then as you come up on Hawk Mountain, you go to turn to go where you go watch the hawks and look out over the valley. You can keep going up over the other side, and you need four-wheel drive. There's no other way to do it. And you ride down about a quarter mile. And you come to another parking area. You can park your car, truck, four-wheel drive. You can walk back to the old railroad town. And pretty much it's just foundations are left. Some of the walls are still up. The stone walls. And there was a railroad that used to go through. Back in the, I think, early 1900s. It's since been abandoned for many, many, many years. Almost 100 years, I guess. It was a working railroad town. It was real small, real small. When I say working town, I don't know, maybe 20 houses. But it's neat the history that we have in this area. It's really cool. There's a lot to do here. You know, I know we're not far from Gettysburg. You know, so. But, well, they didn't have anything to say tonight. I don't know. Yeah, this whole area is rich in history. I should do a tour on some of this stuff, especially some of the Hershey stuff. We're real close to Hershey. I know a lot of the history of that area. I lived in that town for many years, and then I worked there. I worked in that town for almost 20 years, so it's pretty cool how it's changed. They're redoing the square downtown. They're adding some more shops, which I don't like. But it's a tourist town. Oh well. That's another place I need to take you, show you around. It's just neat stuff. History. History, not just history that we read in the history books, just history of areas. Wherever you live, if you say you don't have content, you don't know what to talk about. So, camera's getting blurry, sorry about that. You don't know what to talk about. Talk about the history of your town, your city, your area. A lot of stuff. A lot of stuff. I was born in New Jersey. So, and then we moved to Middletown area when I was probably, I think, 1 year old. And my dad's from Wilkes-Barre. It's a old coal mining city. Really depressed for a long time. It's starting to get built back up. They got casinos and stuff going up there. And then my mom was born in the Philly area, but her family's from Mount Carmel. There's another coal region town. But there's a lot of history where you live. Like I said before, everybody's got a story. Everybody's got a story. I could tell you. I could tell you a lot of stories, just from my time on the ambulance. I'm not patient enough to write a book. I should, but I'm not. That's why I shouldn't talk to people. Find out where they're from, what their background is. Got one coming for you, though. My first pipe session tour location. It's a cool story. It's going to be a cool story. You're going to like it. You're going to be surprised. I think you're going to be pleasantly surprised of the story that I hope that he will tell. I might do an interview type video instead of just a pipe session video, but a little of both maybe. But I think it's going to be really cool. And then I got a couple of people close by. I'd love to do a video collaboration and do stories with them. Show me your town. Let's do a tour. We're living back close to where I grew up as a kid, where we first moved when I was a little baby. We're close, a little less than a mile, where I used to live. And that house has changed hands many times, and it really was run down and dilapidated. And our neighbor's daughter's husband is a house flipper and a remodeler. He's a construction guy. Bought the house. He's redoing it. I can't wait to go see it. Was going to go look at it, maybe think about, buying it, but found out somebody said, "Hey, I want that house. Stop what you're doing. Can you do it the way I want it? Make it custom," which is really cool. Well, I'm hoping to get to tour it. It'd be really neat. Bring back a lot of memories. I loved that house. I can remember sitting out back as a child, laying in the backyard, looking up at the clouds and the blue sky, and thinking, what a wonderful life this is, As a kid, you're so innocent. I remember our neighbors, Dottie and Bob, Vic and Jean, Charlie and Helen, Betty and Joe. Wonderful childhood, man. I couldn't ask for a better childhood. My parents were great. We were poor and we didn't even know it. My parents were really good at hiding it. Well, we didn't care. We were kids. When you're a kid, you don't care. You don't care. My mom and dad always provided for us, always had a roof over our heads, always had food in our bellies. We never went hungry. We worked hard. My mom was a stay-at-home mom until we went into junior high, and she started working. We never went without. Never went without. And I think it was good to live that. I think we're better off, my brothers and I, for what our family struggled financially, like a lot of families. Because you learn to appreciate the things that you do earn, things you work hard to get. You learn to appreciate them a lot. Well, taking up almost 30 minutes of your time. It's 9 o'clock. Tomorrow gets here fast. I gotta get up early. Not as early as today, which is a good thing. Thanks for joining. I appreciate you coming along with me for the journey. It's a lot of fun. I love sharing the stories. I love it. And in a way, this is a way of documenting it for my kids and stuff down the road. My grandchildren, hopefully. Well, Lord willing, I'll be here tomorrow. I appreciate all those that subscribe and everybody that watches and comments. Hey, point your friends to this channel. I'd love to have them come along for the journey. My average life. It's nothing special. Like I said, we all have a story. You guys have a good night tonight. Hope to see you all tomorrow. Have a blessed night. Light 'em up, everybody.